Wow, another amazing day so late in the season. I love it. I wish we get more of these. So the day, uh, so the day started with just soaring with friends, and pretty early I got boosted enough to be able to do the transition to Galbert. So once I did that, this ridge was perfectly aligning with the wind direction, and there were definitely thermals kicking off, but nothing was really consistent. Nothing seemed to be working. So I was like trying to scratch here for a long time, plus point 0.1, minus point 0.1, etc. And finally, I found this technique that actually worked here the best. So I just literally surfed the ridge up and down and several times, and it was just like a curtain of lift, consistent 1.5 meters a second or 2 meters a second. And once it ended, I just turned around and did the same back and repeated it a couple of times. Finally, once I had enough vert to hop on the next ridge, I went there, and indeed there was a thermal kicking off, and it was pretty strong, good 2 meters a second thermal that took me pretty high very early on. So I thought, wow, the day is working really nice. So once I got established, my objective for the day was to try to find lift more out in the flats or the hogbacks rather than sticking to the higher terrain. And so I tried really hard pushing out front and over the hogbacks. Indeed, here I found climb, and it was a quite drifty thermal that sort of got me back where I started, and so I was a little bit disappointed. But nevertheless, I kept going and tried to push this time a little bit further north. I was shooting for this little hogbag ridge just before Ralston Buttes, and I was thinking that the northeast side should be triggering, probably with the wind, at least be ridge soarable. So I tried to work that. I've never tried this before, and I think the wind today was maybe a little bit too strong, so it wasn't really working that well. In the end, I gave up on this and tried to just run back to the higher terrain and the foothills with the wind. To my surprise, just as I started running away, there was a thermal kicking off right in the lee of this hill. So that was an interesting learning for me. It seems that if thermals are wind blown on a day like this, it's perhaps more likely to find a climb on a slight lee where things are a little bit more protected and the heat is able to build up and release. So I was essentially back where I was before. So at this point, I made the decision to turn around and do something else, because that northeast wind was pretty strong and was making progress really hard. So I saw North Table Mountain in the distance, and I thought, wow, that would be super cool to get on the northeast side and soar that. So I started making way towards North Table. First I got some height here, and I was hoping to catch some thermals on my way. As I was gliding, I got to try the shark flying technique that Gavin talked about in one of his recent podcasts. Essentially, every time I hit a little bit less sink or a batch of light lift, I would turn into wind and try to ride that as far as I could, and then adjust my course line again towards my objective once it ended. This ended up working really nicely, and essentially I got to North Table Mountain on a single glide while pushing 45 degrees into wind that felt pretty strong. Surfing northeast edge of North Table Mountain was definitely magical, super fun experience, reliable ridge soaring side. The wind was about 12 miles an hour at this point, and so I felt pretty comfortable being here. There seemed to be plenty of landing options down in the valley, and I was kind of hoping to catch a thermal here somewhere to be able to go back home. However, this seemed pretty challenging at first. Every thermal that I was hitting was very drifty, and the moment it hit the edge of the cliffs, it kind of broke down, and so I wasn't really finding anything consistent enough that I could hold on to. Then at one point I got really lucky, and there was a hawk flying right in front of the cliff, and it kind of started pushing into wind away from the cliff, and I thought, wow, this hawk must know something. So I followed it, and sure enough, there was a thermal that was a little bit stronger and that I was able to drift with and just surf that thermal and get drifted on the west side of Nortable. On the west end of Nortable, I saw a group of 2 hawks circling around. They were catching a lee-side thermal off Nortable Mountain, and I joined them to soar with them for like 2 minutes, which was really, really fun. Now I was established essentially to glide all the way back to Lookout. I hit one more thermal on my way back, and I arrived really high and ended up doing just some wing overs and top landing in order to get back to my vehicle. All in all, this flight ended up being a super fun experience. I got to experience flying Nortable Mountain for the first time. That was really cool. Being able to do out and back, or actually a triangle, that was really nice as well. And then that thermaling with the hawks was absolutely magical. It's so cool to see big birds and be able to be with them in the same thermal, right wingtip to wingtip. So that was really, really cool. And finally getting to practice top landing was also a really nice experience, because especially in these conditions, it was actually super lifty and floaty. So every time I set up to top land, I got popped. So it was really good practice to do. So fantastic flight overall, and hope we'll get more of these soon.